Thanks for making such a huge difference in people's lives. I'm so excited to have Kurt Mortensen in the house today. Kurt Mortensen has been a good friend of mine for decades. Not only is he a best-selling author, he has his books all over the world. He's an author on influence, as well as just helping people have a better life. And he's one of the techno wizards that have helped us to take all this wonderful material that we have and get it onto a platform. And without Kurt, many of the stuff wouldn't have happened. So Kurt's in the house. We're going to talk a little bit about the blockchain technology. This is a technology. Think about that. Now, one of the things we do is we send money all over the world. We send stock all over the world. We send Bitcoin all over the world to help you get up and going into your investment accounts. Well, there has to be a technology to be able to do that. And so blockchain is that technology. And then most people are saying, well, what's one of the big uses of that technology? Well, and the way you keep track of that is things like Bitcoin and crypto. But the blockchain technology is the underlying world that's there. And if you are going to invest a little bit of your money into crypto, I'm not telling you what to do with your money. I'm telling you what I'd like you to do with our money. I would put it into Bitcoin, the small amount of your all of your assets. You're only going to do a small percentage of that. And then you got three choices. One is Bitcoin. The reason I like Bitcoin is it's the firstest with the mostest. That's a marketing term, and it has a limited number of coins that are going to be out there. So there's a scarcity issue to it. That's what's good. The governments around the world can print more money. That's all they're doing. They're printing more money, which means that everything is going to be more expensive. Well, this is the opposite. There is a limited number. Number two is Ethereum. Ethereum is the technology, is the underlying, it's the Microsoft DOS. It's the Microsoft systems that most of these computers run off of, most of these cryptos run off of, and they get a little bit of that money as runs through that system. So that's the other one I like. And then after that, it's a wild west. It's picking and choosing ones that you like. You can buy a chunk of them, there's 100 of them that are put together, kind of like the S&P 500. There's some chunks that you can invest in. But again, this is a very small portion of what you're doing. But the big thing I want you to understand is the technology. The technology is making the world a much smaller place. So I think Kurt's in the house this morning. So Kurt, I'm going to let you come in and let's talk a little bit about the blockchain technology that you got.
It's always good to be here with the Success and Money Foundation. Good people, good training, giving back to the world, things you should have learned in school. You're at the right place at the right time to learn the right skills. This is the key. So keep coming, keep showing up, keep watching these videos. It'll make a big difference. Now, of course, we're talking in crypto again. This will be our final installment, at least for a while. But crypto is the future. Now, crypto is risky. Crypto is known in the United States as, the term is the Wild Wild West. That would be the cowboys and not a lot of structure, but it's just getting started. Just like when the internet first got started, that was known as the Wild Wild West. And it's not the first place you start with your investments, but you still need to understand what's going on here. This is just going to be a small piece of your investments. You're not going to put everything into this, so you don't put all your eggs in one basket, as they say. Now, of course, this is not financial advice. No one can predict the future. But this technology, known as Web3, as blockchain, for most is the future. Is already starting to take over. And everyone's really kind of trying to get into position to use it and to profit from it. You have to learn it. I know it's complicated. I know it's not the easiest thing in the world. And you can't pretend that it's not the future. I don't know which pieces of it will be. Just like when the internet came out, we knew, you could email, it was great, but there was so much untapped potential. That's where we are now with blockchain and cryptocurrency. You can't be like your mom or your grandma. Well, I don't want to learn social media. I don't want to know email. So even if you don't use social media, you still have to understand it. If you own a business, you probably have to use it for marketing. So even if it's not your favorite thing, you still need to know what it is, what it does, and how to use it, and how not to use it. Again, when email first came out, a lot of resistance. Oh, it's not safe. What about this? When credit cards first came out, people didn't want to use them. No, you got to get money out of the bank. Gas cars, no, they're too dangerous. It's going to blow things up. Buying things online, all the same things. We have to embrace this new technology, this disruption as they're calling it. So these are concepts you need to understand, and hopefully you'll use it. It'll make your life easier. So a little while back, I did a series of videos, and some of them overlap, and there's a little music in the background, but they'll really help you master these concepts. And I wanted to show them to you that you'll be able to really take this to the next level. So it's going to go into blockchain a little deeper to really understand the technology behind cryptocurrency, how and why it's not going away. That's going to be important to you, that it's never been hacked, at least the tech, the blockchain, these networks, the way they do it, the ones that are done the right way. Now, there's probably a few out there that have been hacked, have done it the wrong way, but when it's done the right way, like Bitcoin, for example, the Bitcoin network's never been hacked. That's because of the blockchain. So we're going to explain the blockchain, go a little deeper to understand the big data, the number one, Bitcoin, online ledgers, and exactly what it means. And then number two, we're going to go into Ethereum, which is completely different. Bitcoin is an online currency, an online digital currency, or known as digital gold. Ethereum is known as digital oil. You can do a lot of things with oil. You can make gas, you can make products, there's a lot of different things. Then smart contracts. We're going to go into that. You have to understand that smart contracts just happen. You can work with a stranger in another country and know what's going to work out by using smart contracts. And then understand stable coins. People don't understand that some cryptocurrency is always stable. There's a stable coin for the US dollar. It's always worth $1. And this is various currencies around the world. So there you have it. Let's get started. Get your notes out. You have to understand it. Let's do it. All right, so let's explain blockchain. Now, cryptocurrencies are a form of digital, or we call it virtual currency, that run on the blockchain. Now, the blockchain is a chain of blocks that contain information, hence the blockchain. So there are blocks, and they are chained together. Now, blockchain wasn't invented with Bitcoin. It goes back to 1991. It was originally intended to timestamp digital documents. They were looking for ways to make it impossible to tamper or change the date on a digital document. Then fast forward to 2009 when Satoshi Nakamoto used that concept for Bitcoin. So this blockchain is a distributed online ledger or a database that anyone can access or see at any time. Not like a database at a bank that only a few people can see. Anybody can see this database online. So this database, or we call it a chain of records or transactions, these are known as blocks. And it's also known as a ledger. You see, the reason it's so secure is once info or data is recorded in a blockchain, it can't be changed. You can't counterfeit it. And that's why it's so secure. And you don't need a third party like a bank to verify it. See, a lot of times when we send money back and forth, we need that third party, the bank, to trust the other person's actually sending us the money. With the blockchain, we don't need to do that. We can interact with each other, trust each other without needing that third party. So these blocks contain data. They contain a hash and the hash of a previous block. So the next block includes a hash of the previous block. You're like, okay, what's a hash? So this hash is a series of letters and numbers that makes it unique, kind of like a fingerprint. No one can alter it, everyone has a copy, and it links each block together. Remember, that's why it's called the blockchain. So basically, it's a collection of records that are linked to each other. They're certified and validated by other computers or miners, and they each have that unique number, that hash. Just like a dollar bill, for example, has its own unique serial number, or a notary that validates the signature on a contract. So the good news, that removes the need for that central authority, that bank or third-party validation, making it the perfect trusting system. So that's why many of these ledgers are called decentralized. It reduces the risk of fraud and manipulation. The ledger or record is permanent and public. And that's the great thing about it. With so many eyes watching it, it's tamper-proof, and it creates trust in the record. And so the people that verify it, those miners, are rewarded for doing that. So just know that all blockchains can store different data. For example, Bitcoin stores the sender, receiver, and the amount of the Bitcoin sent in the block. These transaction details are permanently engraved into the block. And that certification is known as proof of work. It keeps it secure. It brings consensus to the network, to the ledger, verifying that all the transactions are correct. That is the blockchain. And a great thing about this technology, cryptocurrency aside, it can be used for other things, like voting, taxes, medical records. It could be a digital notary, intellectual property, track packages. The blockchain is here to stay. So now you understand the blockchain and the importance with cryptocurrencies. So let's talk about cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is considered cryptocurrency. Basically, Bitcoin is digital money. This is digital money you can send through the internet. This is digital money that's accepted all over the world. It's kind of like an electronic currency, not like PayPal or Venmo. Those are merchant accounts using local currency. This is its own currency. Now you also hear the term fiat or fiat currency. This means your local currency. So fiat currency would be like the dollar, the yen, or the euro. So you can take your fiat currency and convert it into cryptocurrency or digital currency. The technical definition of Bitcoin is a decentralized digital currency, or a digital currency that works without a central repository or single administrator. That basically means that there's not one person or entity in charge of Bitcoin. Now you're thinking, wait a minute, what do you mean nobody owns it? Well, it's kind of like the internet. Who owns the internet? Nobody owns the internet. So Bitcoin is decentralized just like the internet. So the owners and users of Bitcoin all own a small piece of it. And remember, Bitcoin is a digital currency, and you can exchange Bitcoin for other cryptocurrencies. You could use Bitcoin to buy anything. So as you look at what's happening in the world, that's one thing that's driving Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. That one thing is fear. The world economy crashing, countries destabilizing, bank failures, the global financial crisis, all driving that fear that's helping cryptocurrencies. Remember, Bitcoin's a decentralized digital currency. There's no government running it. There's not a single person that has control. That's why it's a perfect trusting system, and that's because it's on the blockchain. And that's what happened when Bitcoin came on the market. It came packaged with the blockchain. You don't need to be an expert on the blockchain. You don't even need to understand the blockchain if you don't want to. Just like your car, as long as you turn the key and it works, you really don't care how or why the engine works. You just want to know that it works, and the blockchain works. It has been proven to work. But let me give you a high-level view of the blockchain so it can make a little more sense. So basically, the blockchain is a public ledger that records each Bitcoin transaction. Anybody at any time can see what's going on, what's happening. It's public. So when a transaction happens, everyone knows about it, and it's there for everyone to see. Of course, only if they want to see it. Now, once it's recorded, you can't go back and change or alter or erase a transaction. It's set in stone. It's always there. And that's the blockchain. So every 10 minutes, a new block is created, and that's added to the chain of other blocks, hence the blockchain. So again, when there's a transaction, someone buys or sells Bitcoin, or someone pays for something with Bitcoin, or maybe they're buying Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency, it gets broadcast to these blocks, which are known as ledgers. These are online ledgers, and this chain of blocks is recorded on multiple computers around the world. That's what keeps it honest, because all these computers all over the world all have to agree with what's happening. And these transactions get verified and recorded. So these computers that record the transaction, or the people that own the computers, are also known as miners. Basically, they verify that it's a legitimate transaction. So that's why it's a trusting system. It gets verified by multiple computers all over the world. To hack Bitcoin, you have to hack the whole Bitcoin internet network simultaneously. You see, all these computers are in different parts of the world. So basically, transaction would have to be verified through the internet, through a miner, and these miners get paid to verify transaction. So basically, follow me on this one. This blockchain's an online database, not like a database at a bank because they don't show that to anybody. You never know what's really going on. This database, this blockchain, is openly distributed, and anytime you can see what's going on. It doesn't store your name or what you bought, it just stores how much Bitcoin was transferred and that both parties agree to the transaction. So anybody at any time can download the blockchain. I don't know why you would, but you can. And that's the good news. It's not on one server, not controlled by one person, by one government. It's a globalized, decentralized database that allows you to move digital assets like money from one person to another. It's verifiable, it's legitimate, it's trusted. So the bottom line is, this is a tamper-proof database that stores digital assets without one central authority. So what is Ethereum? Well, right now it's the number 2 cryptocurrency. But to understand Ethereum, we have to start with Bitcoin. Now we know Bitcoin is decentralized and digital money. That's what it's used for. It's money. It spends like money. It's decentralized, meaning no one entity or government owns it, and it's digital. We can transfer it through the internet. And each transaction we know is validated through the blockchain. So Bitcoin being the first created this blockchain technology. And blockchain to Bitcoin is kind of what email is to the internet. Meaning you need the internet to send email. Although there's many different email providers, they still all need the internet. That's what blockchain is to Bitcoin. That's what the internet is to email. So basically money is now decentralized because of Bitcoin. Now that's where Ethereum comes in. What else can we decentralize using this same blockchain technology? So Ethereum launched in 2015. It's an open source, blockchain-based, decentralized software platform. So that's a big difference. It's a platform, it's a software you can use to decentralize pretty much anything. So it uses smart contracts and distributed application known as dApps to be able to run without fraud, without control, without interference from any third party. But ETH is also its own cryptocurrency. So if you want to build your own Bitcoin or blockchain type network, if you want to decentralize anything, you use the Ethereum network as a software to build your decentralized app or dApp. So it's basically a platform or software you can use. But again, it's an open source, anybody can use computing platform and operating system with its own cryptocurrency on the side. So even though Bitcoin has its own miners, its own decentralized network to verify transaction, Ethereum basically connects people all over the world through this decentralized supercomputer, which is based of thousands of independent computers around the world. This software program is called Solidity. That's the programming language. Again, that can do smart contracts. And what's a smart contract? It's a simple contract online that's always enforced and always managed. Once this contract is set, just like the blockchain, it cannot be changed. All the transactions are transparent. I mean, imagine if governments were transparent on how they spent taxes, how much they collected, what they wasted. We're pretty sure they lie. They don't tell us. Now on this blockchain, everything is transparent. So again, this software is like a decentralized blockchain software platform that no one person or government owns that can be used to pretty much decentralize everything. So Ethereum is this platform. It's a programming language running on the blockchain, and it helps developers build these distributed applications to decentralize almost anything. Or as Ethereum puts it, it can be used to codify, decentralize, secure, and trade just about anything. So Ethereum's a software, Ether is the digital currency. And you've probably heard of gas. And gas is Ether, it's a fee used to build each transaction. Now different from Bitcoin, Bitcoin has 21 million Bitcoins. And Ethereum right now does not have a limited supply. Now we're talking about changing that, but that's something to consider and something to understand. So that's a great thing about this distributed ledger technology. Thousands of computers around the world, also called nodes, keep it secure, keep the blockchain running, and keep all these decentralized apps legit and transparent. So basically this open source software, Solidity, and anybody can use it to program and decentralize, again, pretty much anything. That's why it's so popular. It was one of the first, some consider one of the best. Now what can you use this for? Games or NFTs. Those are the things you can earn during the games and own them and sell them. We see it with banking and financial services. These smart contracts can help the financial and the banking industry. Whether it's bonds, mortgages, insurances, any type of payments or settlements you can do through the blockchain without a third party. Digital identity. So smart contracts can also be used to own an identity or any type of information like medical records, financial information, even employment. There's digital registries. Governments can use this to store companies' information, and you can go from marriage information to birth dates to social security numbers to even degrees. There's crowdfunding. Places like Kickstarter, where 5% of the total money raised goes to the source. So you can use a smart contract to make sure everyone gets paid without any fees or a central person monitoring it. If you've heard of ICOs, initial coin offerings, you use this platform. Even the Internet of Things, IoT. You can take anything or asset like a bike, apartment, a car, a vacation property, and have it digitally locked and unlocked depending if someone's fulfilled the smart contract or not. If you want online casinos, lotteries, and there's no cheating and no fees. So you can see the power of this and why people are excited about Ethereum. Again, not only number 2, been around since 2015, but it's a blockchain-based decentralized software platform with its own cryptocurrency that enables smart contracts. And people can create these decentralized apps real fast, without fraud, without interference from a third party. Makes it simple, done and done. So there you go. That's everything you need to understand about Ethereum. What is a smart contract? This is where you don't need to pay an intermediary, a middle person. And what it does in the long term saves you time and conflict and money. See, blockchains can do a smart contract online. You know what's going to happen. You know they're going to pay you. It's faster, cheaper, and more secure than traditional systems. That's why a lot of banks and governments and people are turning to them. Now, Nick Szabo was the first who created this smart contract online. He was a computer scientist and a cryptographer. In the past, they've been called self-executing contracts. So just like contracts in the real world that have lawyers and you sign them, these are digital online that use the blockchain. So it's basically a computer program where you can facilitate digitally online, where you can verify and enforce a contract. And the great thing about the blockchain, it's public, it's trackable, and it's irreversible. All the agreements are there between the buyer and the seller, and there are no surprises. It's almost like a digital lawyer or online notary. It just happens. You don't even need a human. It just happens online. There's no go-between. For example, in real estate, when you put your house in escrow and transfer the funds and move things around, there's a middle person. You don't need that anymore. You can save that money because it just happens with a smart contract. You don't need that lawyer or any company to make sure the contract is enforced. So basically, a smart contract's a tiny computer program stored in the blockchain. It's written, and in a digital format, it's signed by both parties. And it's monitored by different computers in the blockchain. Just like Bitcoin mining, there's hundreds of computers that verify the transactions around the world. It just happens. It's trustless. You don't need any trust. See, the past, you have to trust somebody, trust a system, trust a company. Now it's trustless. It just happens. It's immutable. No one can tamper with it. Once it's put into the blockchain, it is permanent and cannot be adjusted. It cannot be changed. You could use this for loans, insurance, payments, even if someone's paid their rent. You could use smart contracts for all these situations in the financial world. Let me add property law, credit enforcement, financial services, anything legal, and even crowdfunding. This smart contract just happens. Ahead of time, you define the rules and penalties, and it executes it. It just makes it happen. Just like a vending machine, you put in $1, you get what you pay for. It just happens. So here's an example. If you rent an apartment to somebody, they could do it through the blockchain. And they can pay in cryptocurrency or fiat currency. And when they pay, and there's a virtual contract, and that is connected to the entry key of the home. So when you pay, you get in. You don't pay, you don't get in. It's simple. You pay, you get in. You don't pay, you don't get in. And if you don't pay your rent on time, it shuts you out. It's simple. You do it, you get it. You don't get it, you don't get it. It's all based on the if-then. If you do this, you get this. If you don't do that, you don't get this. So usually these are done on the Ethereum network. They're called smart contracts. The code is stored on the blockchain, and it's a basic if-then. And it's guaranteed to work. It's on the blockchain. If you do this, you get this. If you don't get it. It's that simple. That is a smart contract. So now you know the ins and outs of a smart contract when you hear that terminology. This is something that's a big part of the blockchain that's changing the world. All right, good to have you here. The question of the day is, what is a stable coin? You see, when you get paid in crypto, and many people do, what happens when it drops 30%? How do you pay your bills? We all know this is a volatile market, especially if you've been in it for a while. And if you're using cryptocurrency for purchases, it could be worth less the next day. So a stable coin is a stable cryptocurrency. The price never changes. It's a fixed exchange rate. and it reduces people's risk. You see, most coins or crypto are meant as a way to exchange value, not to store value or guarantee value. And some coins have a really small market cap, or basically the overall value of the coin, and that has more volatility. For example, if I took a cup of water out of a pool, you probably wouldn't notice. But if I took a cup of water out of a pitcher of water, you'd notice. That's why the small caps, when just a few people buy or sell, it could make a big difference. So a stable coin is a cryptocurrency that's not volatile. It's attached to a more stable asset like fiat currency. One of the more popular ones is Tether. It's attached to the dollar, and Tether is basically always a dollar. One Tether equals $1. You see, the great thing about stable coins, it's using the blockchain, so it's fast. You're getting the steadiness of a fiat currency. So traders that trade a lot use these stable coins because you can cash out quickly. If things are dropping real fast, transferring money around can take some time, but this is instant. You can cash out quickly. And that could lower your risk, especially if you're not watching the market or a crazy thing happens in the market. You can quickly get into a stable coin. More popular ones, Tether, True, Gemini, USDC, those are all backed by the US dollar. So that type of stable coin is backed by a fiat currency. Then there's DAI, that's crypto collateralized, meaning that's backed up by cryptocurrency. The pros of a stable coin, they're decentralized, they take advantage of the blockchain. You can liquidate quickly, it can reduce your risk. You don't have to put it in a bank, because that's sometimes a pain to go back and forth between exchanges and a bank. And now you can store in exchange and quickly send crypto between exchanges in minutes and hours instead of days. The con, there's been some trust issues with those. Is it really backed by all that money, one for one? Are you sure? They say they are. There's one that's backed by gold. Is it really? Is it risky to back it by cryptocurrency? So there has been some trust issues there. Some are concerned with the projects. How do they become profitable if they're always the same price? I mean, if you're in cryptocurrency, you want the price to go up. That could be an issue. Some people say it's good for the fees, the exposure. Some say it's not worth it if the price never goes up. And as the market grows, it becomes more stable. People might not need a stable coin. So bottom line, stable coins make trading more stable. I don't recommend them, and this is not financial advice, unless you're doing a lot of trades and you're playing the market. If you're a hodler, meaning you're holding on, you're not really selling, going in and out, you really don't need a stable coin. If you're in for the long term and not doing a lot of trades, it's a coin that you might not need. But if you're in it, doing lots of trades, it could be the coin for you. So there you have it. Now you know about stable coins. Thanks for being involved. Thanks for being here and learning these things. I know you might not get it and fully grasp it the first time. That's okay. Every time we do this, we get a little closer. You need to understand this text, this future, this technology, this software. It's critical for your success. I'm very passionate about it. Again, I don't know the future. I don't know what's going to happen. I know a lot of people are really excited about what's happening, what's going on, how this is going to be part of the next wave of the internet and the next, even maybe financial wave. So take a look at it, at least understand it, so when people talk about it, you know exactly what they're talking about. So there you go. Master it. Become more knowledgeable. Become a better entrepreneur, better investor. And as you know, go out and make the world a better place.
Thanks, Kurt. And I just want to put my 2 cents worth in here. I guess my two pieces of crypto. You know, if you take your assets, we talk about asset allocation, you're going to loan or own. You know, as you take your net worth, what's your net worth? Well, the net worth is the net of all your value. You know, any asset minus any loans. And so you're going to own versus loan. The stuff that you own, you're going to own real estate. You're going to own some stock. You're going to own maybe a little bit of crypto. And again, this is a small portion of what you're doing. Now you get to decide what you're going to do with your money. This is just what we're trying to tell you we're doing. Now, one of the reasons we expose you to this is because your children are going to live in a very different world than you are. You know, one of our big problems we've had to solve is how do we literally send money all over the world? How do we send stock all over the world? Well, you know, going through traditional wire transfers and everything else was just too expensive. And so we had to find other ways to do that. PayPal is one of those ways. Venmo is one of those ways. Being able to use different things like Gcash and stuff like that are the ways that we're doing that. And this is just something that I want you to be aware of as you are doing more things international, as you're doing more things outside of your own little world. I just want you to understand what's going on. When you watch a magician and the magician pulls the rabbit out of the hat, you're all, excited to see that he did that. Wow, that's amazing. Is he really magic? No, he just has a trick. There's a trick to it. And the more that you understand the trick, the less frightened you are, or the less amazed, or less confused, mostly the confused. And one of the things that all these financial people, especially if you're watching social media and everything, they've turned this into a 6-second, 12-second sound bite. They're throwing all kinds of stuff at you. We have the attention span of a goldfish anymore because of the way it's being done. That's not how we created the foundation. We created the foundation so that you can go through a solid class and understand what it is, so you can understand the trick. And then from there, it helps you to navigate through the world. So that's why we're so excited about showing you this other stuff. And again, your kids, it's going to be a very, very different world for your children, your grandchildren, than for you. So we're kind of exposing you to it a little bit early on that. So thanks again, Kurt, for all that. We're going to be right back with our next section. We have Robert Allen. We're going to be talking about multiple streams of income and the money tree, which has had a huge impact on how I think and how we take that same information and get it out to the world. Thanks for watching.